Okay, welcome back to Mr. Hassan's Maths channel. This is question number 2 from the October-November 2023 Pure Mathematics P1 paper. This is paper 1 from 9709, sorry. This is variant 3 of the October-November exam from Cambridge. So here we have the circle with the equation x minus 3 squared plus y minus 5 squared equals 40. Intersects the y-axis at the points A and B. Find the y-coordinates of A and B, expressing your answer in terms of surds. So basically we have the equation of a circle here, all right? And in this case here, they want to find where it hits the y-axis, the y-coordinates of A and B, because those are the y-intercepts, A and B, right? So it hits the y-axis in two places, and we've got to find the coordinates of those places. Now, we should have understood from the very basics of any types of graphs, whether it's straight line graphs, quadratic graphs, cubic graphs, reciprocal graphs, any type of graph, that something will hit the y-axis. It hits the y-axis when x equals 0. And it hits the x-axis when y equals 0. And the simple reason for this is that the equation of the y-axis is x equals 0. That's the line, okay, which is going along the y-axis, x equals 0. And the equation of the x-axis is y equals 0. That horizontal line going through 0 is the y equals 0 line. So on the x-axis, y is 0. On the y-axis, x is 0. So if I want to find where this hits the y-axis, I've got to put x equals 0 into the equation. So I'm going to have 0 minus 3 squared plus y minus 5 squared equals 40. So here I'm going to have minus 3 squared, which is 9. I'm going to leave this as a square bracket because it will be easier to solve. That's going to equal 40. I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides. Now they're telling us to express your answers in terms of surds. So we know that the answer is going to be in surd form. It won't be in the exact answer. So I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides. So I have y minus 5 squared equals 40 minus 9, which is 31. So therefore we can say y minus 5 is equal to, now we're going to have two possible answers. When I take the square root of 31, I'm going to have either positive square root of 31 or negative square root of 31. And that is what produces our two answers. So y is going to be 5, add 5 to both sides, plus or minus the square root of 31. So it says find the coordinates of A and B. Okay, it didn't tell us if A is where A is and where B is in relation to each other, so we can call either of them A and B. So let's call A, it's a y coordinate, so the x coordinate is 0, and the y coordinate is going to be 5 plus root 31, and for B, it's going to be 0 and 5 minus root 31. Okay, so root of 31 is less than 5, isn't it? So it's going to be like, one of them is going to be up here, someone's going to be over here. So that's what we called A and what we call B. So the circle probably goes something like this. And, it's going to be something like that. It crosses at these 2 points. This is 5 plus root 31. This is 5 minus root 31. Something like that. Okay, so those are the two y-intercepts of this circle which passes through these points. Okay, so here we don't really need to know or use the fact that the center of the circle is 3, 5, which we might need to know, and that the radius of the circle is the root of 40. Here it's simply, we don't need to use those things at all. All we need to know is where this crosses the y-axis. So whether it's a cubic curve, a straight line graph, a quadratic curve, a reciprocal curve, an exponential curve, all of them would be the same procedure. You replace x with 0 and then solve for y. That will tell you where it hits the y-axis. Okay, so the simple 2 marks there, and we have to write our answer in surd form, not in decimal form. Okay, in surd form. So you don't write this as a decimal and round it. It says in terms of surds. It means it's with the square root. Okay, so there we have the answer to part 1 or A of question number 2. Now for part B, it says find the equation of the circle that has AB as its diameter. Okay, so now we have these 2 points, which is basically the diameter of a circle. So if we think about it, these 2 points, the diameter of the circle would be something like this. This would be, it would be a vertical line. Okay, this would be A and this would be B. So the equation of a circle is found by two things. We need two things. One, we need to know the center of the circle. And two, we need to know the radius of the circle. If we have those two things, we can write down the equation of the circle, because the equation of the circle is given by x minus a squared plus y minus b squared equals r squared. A, b is the center of the circle, okay, and r is the radius. So if we have those pieces of information, we can find the equation of the circle. So if AB is the diameter, all right, we can find the center of the circle very easily. I can find the midpoint of these points. Now, in terms of the x-coordinate, it's going to be 0 still, right? The average of 0 and 0 is 0. So the midpoint, let me call the midpoint M. We know that the x-coordinate of the midpoint is going to be 0, okay? But the y-coordinate of the midpoint is going to be the average of these two. So if we add them together and divide by 2, we have 5 plus root 31 plus, so this is going to be the midpoint, plus 5 minus root 31, and we divide that by 2, what you'll see is the root 31 and the minus root 31 will cancel out. We're left with 10 over 2, okay, which is going to be 5. So we can see that the midpoint is going to be 0 and 5. Okay, 0 and 5. Okay, so 0, 5 is the midpoint. Okay, now we need to find the radius. Now the radius is basically half the diameter. Okay, it's half the diameter. So we can see that if I find the diameter, okay, of the circle, I can find the diameter by basically just subtracting these two lengths, because we can see that it's just a vertical line. So if I subtract the y coordinates, I'm going to get the length of AB. This has got 5 plus root 31, and this is 5 minus root 31. So if I add them together, if I subtract them, I will get my diameter. So I have 5 plus root 31 minus, and I have 5 minus root 31, and that's the diameter. So the radius is going to be that divided by 2. That will be the radius. The diameter is going to be this length. Divided by 2 will give us the radius. So you'll end up with r equals, you're going to have 5 minus 5, which is 0, and root 31 plus root 31. So you'll have 5 plus root 31 minus 5 plus root 31 all over 2. So the 5's cancel out. You're left with root 31 over 2. So r is equal to, in fact, it's going to be 2 root 31 over 2. 2 root 31 over 2, which gives us the square root of 31. So the radius is equal to root 31. So now we can write down the equation of our circle. We have x, we have the radius is this, and the center, okay, is 0, 5. Okay, the center is 0, 5. So we can say x minus 0 squared plus y minus 5 squared equals the radius squared, which is root 31 squared. So if we simplify that, you end up with x squared plus y minus 5 squared equals 31. And there we have the equation of the circle, which has AB, which were the 2 points which this first circle passed through on the y-axis, okay, as its diameter. All right, so there's the answer for this question, part B of 2. And that concludes this question, which is all about circles. Okay, equations of circles. Now, this is a relatively new topic in the Cambridge paper 1. Previous to 2020, this topic didn't exist in the Cambridge syllabus. So you'll find questions from Edexcel, okay, which are very much kind of in line with these type of questions. So I'm going to, at the end of the video, link you to my playlist for Edexcel on circles as well as the one for Cambridge, because you'll find there's a lot of questions, in that which will be relevant to what you're studying, and there's not that many in the previous papers for Cambridge. So that's why I'm going to do that as well at the end of the video. So in the end of the video, you'll see a playlist over here, which will be a playlist for this particular paper. Okay, and then you'll have a playlist for equations of circles from Cambridge. And I'll give you another playlist here for equations of circles from my Edexcel collection. And you can subscribe to the channel by clicking on this link. And the card at the that's showing up in this video from time to time takes you to another video which tells you how to use my channel to find the things that you might be looking at or interested in finding. Thank you for watching, and see you soon.